Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is, who are you? This is such a wonderful inquiry, and I really look forward to engaging in it with you. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating this brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just press our palms together, rub your fingers and palms together briskly to feel the sensation, the temperature, the friction, the pressure, and to allow that sensation to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, 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 Rosalind. So good to have you here with us this morning, and welcome to everyone else who's joining us. And we are talking today about, well, the question for the day is, who are you? And this is a question that I engaged with multiple clients, in yesterday. Who are you? And this is such an amazing question particularly when we are admired and immersed in a conversation of victimhood or well, pretty much any of the conversations that we have about our story and our limitations and why we can't do this or that, or the stories of our discontent that are based on our deprivations in our history, for example, or slights that we've received from or experienced from people. So the question beyond who are you is, are you your history? And this is a super powerful question, because we keep coming back around to the notion that we need to be willing to forget ourselves so that we can become the selves we came here to be. So when we believe that we are our history, then we are bound to all these constraints and opinions and patterns and shames or triumphs or identity, essentially, that we've experienced. And then we take our past and we project it into the future to determine what our possibilities are. And it's kind of a crazy thing that we do. So Rosalind says, I am everything, I am nothing. I am confused. Just here sometimes, aware I am watching myself. So I love that. I am everything, I am nothing. And I keep coming back to, I am life expressing itself through me. And or I am the intelligence of the universe expressing itself through me or discovering itself. Uh, and when we connect to that notion, you know, that we are everything, we are nothing, it's a whole different, it's a whole different thing from identifying ourselves as the sum of our past, you know, the sum of our experience. Because is that who we are? Who is the experiencer? You know, who is it that has had all these experiences? Who is it that is remembering, reassembling those things in our recollection of the past, you know, in our reassembling of the past to create whatever story then we live from. And the thing that is the motivation that is at the heart of this question for me is to find freedom, to recognize that we are not our past. Our past is our past, you know, and in fact, we don't even recall it in its truth, in its factual account, because it's gone, and our memories are, memory is not a flawless, for most people, memory is not a flawless rendering of what occurred. There are people who remember everything that happened to them in their whole lives on any date. It's remarkable. I mean, remarkable. But then the question is also for them too. Who are you? Are you the sum of your experience? Or are you the experiencer? And when we notice that we are the experiencer can become unbound by the experience, right? Because if the experience doesn't particularly mean anything about the experiencer, if the experience is just the experience, then we have the freedom, that's what this whole thing is about, to create new experiences that are not in any kind of linear relationship with the experience we've previously experienced. What do you think? Lots of reference to experience going on here, right? So what does that word encompass? It encompasses pretty much everything that we might think, feel, do, see, hear, be present for in the context of our lives, all our interactions, all our patterns, all our beliefs. And it was so interesting in these conversations yesterday, because one of the people recognized that they had kind of created a ball. I mean, it was actually represented as this rock of shame and guilt and fear and sadness and despair, and that they were holding on to that ball as who they were, like that ball was defining them. And it was really interesting to hear them come to the awareness, and their words were, I've had a codependent relationship with this ball of shame, you know, that was the place to go. And it was a place of comfort and a place of identity, that was, as painful as it was a haven, a place of comfort, because at least it was known. Now, how wild is that, right? That we will keep recreating and regenerating something that is painful purely because there is comfort in the known. And without that, who would we be? So, I mean, this is what we're talking about, and this is the place that we get to expand into as we are facing our necessary evolution right now. Rosalind says, instead of saying I'm tired, I love this, I say I'm aware I'm experiencing tiredness. It makes it sound more temporary. Well, and it's a whole lot more factual, Rosalind, because we are not tiredness, right? I'm tired. No, I'm not tired. I am experiencing feeling tired. Yes. So you nailed it, Rosalind. That's really important. It's not like I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm angry, because we're not. We are experiencing those things, those feelings. I'm hot, I'm hungry. It's really interesting, our languaging. And so as we pay more attention to that, we can recognize that we are the experiencer experiencing all those things. And as the experiencer, we can become the orchestrator, right? We can choose to experience new experiences. So back to this shame ball that that one of my clients was experiencing. What she noticed was that she kept calling this shame ball back. She kept calling it forward. And I think that it was such a brilliant insight to recognize that she was invoking this notion of who she was, you know, this very kind of twisty place of tremendously uncomfortable comfort because it was familiar. And so we tend to sacrifice ourselves to the familiar. We sacrifice our possibility and potential to the familiar, because that's who we know ourselves to be. We get to forget who we are to become who we came here to be. You know, we get to let go of all those ideas in order to move into the expression of the song of our souls that is covered over by all this ugliness that we have manufactured or we have experienced that enables us to keep ourselves small. Good morning, Lisa. Welcome. So good to have you here with us. We're talking, the question of the day is, who are you? Who are you? You know, are you the sum of your experience? Are you your past? Are you your dreams? So that was what was coming up for me that I discussed with you the other day, is in the face of the dream that I've been dreaming for 5 years, possibly going away, in the face of releasing that dream, I felt like I was untethered, and it was scary to say, okay, well, now who am I if I'm not anchored or focused or grounded by that dream? Now who might I be? And that's when, you know, like there's the image of this fast moving river, and we get to be being the river rather than trying to cling to the shore. Because when you try to cling to the shore, you can get battered around and destroyed, you know. And of course, in that conversation, I had a conversation also yesterday about whitewater rafting, which I did once. And the raft overturned and we were on rapids. The rapids were called Pinball. And I was going rapidly down the river toward the rapids without a raft, and was just passing by the very last raft in our group, and somebody threw a rope to me and I was able to catch that rope without going through the rapids. And it was terrifying, and I really experienced that I was facing dry, you know, like I really experienced that I almost died, and then had to get back on the raft and go down the rapids to get to where we were getting picked up. And everybody was having such a good old time. And meantime, I had kind of faced death and realized, hey, this is really serious business. It was not a whole lot of fun for me. So I realized that you know, allowing yourself to run with the river can be treacherous too. But when we hold to the shore, we're stopping kind of our life, right, from flowing. We're stopping the flow of our lives. So Lisa says, I'm most definitely the product of my experiences. That's why is never so it that's why I'll never do it all over again. It wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be me. That's why I would never do it over again. It wouldn't be me. So Lisa, I'm going to challenge you on that. Are you your past? Are you your past? Who is it that experienced your experiences? You know, do your experiences define you? Our experiences certainly contribute to our behaviors, but are we our behaviors? Our experiences certainly contribute to our beliefs, but are we our beliefs? Who's the believer? Who's the experiencer? Who, you know, there is the consciousness that we are, that is experiencing all these experiences, is independent of those experiences. And when we allow ourselves not to be the product of our experiences, when we allow ourselves to forget our experiences, and I don't mean literally have no memory, but I mean to extract ourselves from being them, like realizing that when I say I'm cold, I am not cold. That's not my beingness. I'm feeling cold. Who is the me that's feeling the cold? Right? There's some other level of awareness that is who we are, that is independent of all that history, that is the witness that's here witnessing all that stuff, right? And that has the capacity to be directing life, to be opening to new experiences. So what we do is we try to live our lives going forward while looking back all the time. Here's my history, here's my history, here's my history. You try walking backwards, you're going to stumble and fall over all kinds of things, right? And then there are people that are even more creative with it. Instead of just looking backwards, they take the past, they put it in front and walk into that. And that limits what our capacity is. That limits what our capabilities are, right? What if we left the past in the past and realized that that doesn't define me? It's just what was. It's over. Now what? So I experienced horrible trauma as a child, and yes, we get to heal those wounds. Absolutely. I'm 100% about that. But then what? I met a woman. Well, let me read Rosalind's comment. Rosalind says, without body, memories, relationship, and conditional patterns, what properties emerge? Was that sense of the self the same when you were born, when you're dreaming? I love your questions, Rosalind. I love the way your mind goes to those places that are so frightening for so many, right? Who are we beyond the experience? You know, what's possible if we live into that, right? So I had a conversation with a woman the other day, and she, as a child, she was sex trafficked. She witnessed murders of people that were trying to help her. She has all kinds of psychic abilities, and here's a woman who is not her past. Has her past informed the way she shows up in the world? Yes, but it doesn't dictate who she is. She's not a victim of her experience. And so when we get into these conversations about victimhood, we get to heal the wounds, and then we get to be free ourselves from identification with those experiences. Lisa says, I would think my past are my experiences. Well, yeah, okay. Are you a product of your experience? Do your experiences define you in your essence? Who are you? Are you your experiences? So Lisa continues, I would think that I carry some experiences from my past. I have some experiences that come to memory as lessons, and I'm able to call on those experiences. There are things possibly in still learning, but that's life, right? Well, that's how most of us interact with life, that we are deeply engaged in the drama, that we are deeply engaged in the trauma, that we are living each present moment from our past, that we are bound by and defined by our history. So if let's say I didn't graduate from high school, and that means what? You know, maybe I had some challenges with reading. Maybe I had learning disabilities. So maybe I decided I wasn't smart because of all of that. And I did a session with somebody the other day. It was really interesting how this person, I think they dropped out of school. They were self-made, tremendously successful business person, but they had this story that they weren't smart. And this story that they weren't smart inhibited them in lots of social situations, and created certain behavior patterns. And then in our conversation and in our session, they were able to connect with just because they had come from another country, so they were an immigrant and had challenges with English grammar and writing, and so had been made to understand that they shouldn't be writing emails because of the way that it came across. People would think they were stupid. They thought they were stupid. And in our conversation, I said, you know what? English grammar is not rocket science. You can take an English grammar course and learn how, how to structure your sentences properly and how to punctuate things properly. That's, I mean, you had this empire of businesses. You can learn grammar. That's just learning. That's not intelligence. You have all this intelligence. You created all this stuff that so many other people can't create. That's intelligence. And after the session, they realized, oh my gosh, I'm actually really smart. And I can go learn grammar. I mean, it's like, so previous to that session, this is an example of how we are not our past. Like the past for this person informed them that they were stupid. And so they were living out of that in a certain way. They were taking that identity that they identified with from the past, putting it out in the future, stepping into that. And it limited them in certain arenas. That's what I mean. Are you your past? Are you defined by your past? Is who you are, is the possibility that you are defined by your past? Who are you? I have come to more and more be aligned with I am life expressing itself through me, or the universe. I loved one of my clients, the one that had the shame ball, said, I am the universe, about herself, I am the universe discovering itself through human form. It's pretty cool. But what's possible if that's who we are? If we are not our past, we're not our beliefs, we're not our behaviors, what do we get an opportunity for? The whole world opens up. There are all kinds of possibilities. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm not this, that, or that enough. Well, when you're not your past, those possibilities open up, right? When you're not your ideas, when you're not your limitations, all those possibilities open up. Lisa says, I am me, but I'm on my third incarnation. I like you, Lisa, I think I've had multiple incarnations in this life. And it was really interesting, like our stories about who we are. This is my history, blah, blah, blah. This is my amazing story. Everybody has their amazing story, really, truly. But are you the story? It comes back to the same question. Who are you? Who am I? Because in the seed, or in the way that we answer that question, we are defining our potential. We're defining our possibility. So if I'm life happening through me, it can be anything, right? I'm not limited to who I've been. That's the idea here, is to free ourselves to be our greatest possibility, to free ourselves to be the fullest expression of the soul song we came here to sing. That's what it's about. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So at least for now. Lisa says, I love these talks. It starts the day with an open mind and heart. Keep it coming. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you all for being here and engaging in these talks and conversations. It's really, really powerfully enriching to me, and I hope so for you. And hi, Dido. So good to have you here with us this morning. Welcome. And I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I go live each weekday morning here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel, and I invite you to please check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, Enlightened World Living, EWN One with the Earth. And until next time, so much love to you. I hope to see you again here really, really soon.